50. Hey,
And
we're live. Hello, welcome to episode 9 of American Werewolf in London. I'm CP, the American, the unwanted American. Joining us, as always, 13th Wolfman, playing the role of Wolf Man.
Oh!
Playing the role.
I tell you, I can go on forever, man. It's just it's a very slow. I don't want to.
I totally stomped all over you too because I said Wolfman. I'm like, that's not the title of the show. Whoops. And of course,
that's okay.
Sorry, Wolf. It was a good ow. It was a nice. I missed that.
It was.
And playing the role of London, who was recently in London, Emily.
Yo.
Motherfucker.
Yo.
Of course.
Yo.
So the chat is fucking on fire already. Let's
Really?
So Daniel Hammond, he says, ah shit, I'm too early. I'm dying to know when the fuck that was sent. Dino here. Hello, Dino. Better than being late, says Dennis. Dino says, yepers. Mr. Movie says, what's up? Hey, Mr. Movie. Saw it last Saturday. It was awesome. I'm glad for you, Daniel Hammond. That's good. I'm going to see it on the weekend. Mr. Movie, that's good. Hell yeah, you most likely enjoy it. Shh. And Dennis says, no, it talks. CP's going to yell at you. Haha. LMAO. The buzz for it has been really good, so I hope it's great. Daniel Hammond says, I'm going to have to bring Eddie's batshit crazy mom. Oh, is that?
Nice call there, Daniel.
And Mr. Movie says hello to all of us. Hello, Mr. Movie.
I have seen it, so there. I'll leave it at that.
Lovely.
Is it worth all the hype, Wolf?
Go watch my review.
Is anything worth the hype ever?
I like it. What was that, Emily?
Nothing.
What did you say?
I said, is anything worth the hype ever? But
yes.
That's a question.
I don't know. Some things do live up to the hype, but then there's other stuff that doesn't. You know, Nirvana never lived up to the hype, but Pearl Jam did.
Nirvana, the guy kind of died, so I don't think they had time to flesh things out.
That had nothing to do with it, man. They just they were a Pixies ripoff.
Oh, Wolf's being provocative again.
Oh wait, speaking of provocative, before we get into our mommy talk, so good
Mommy
friend, parent talk. Is that better? Excuse me.
Okay.
So good friend of the channel, Lee from Drum Dums. He had a movie high on his list, and he had it above Baby Driver. It was like 12th on the year, and it was something that I hadn't heard of being here in Denmark, so I decided to look into it. Ice Cream Truck, which Wolf, you've interviewed the filmmaker and lead actress from that film.
Right. Yeah. About a month ago, we had Megan Friels Johnson, the director, on Sit Down, and we had Megan Friels Johnson and Deanna Russo on Wicked Horror Show. And dude, love this movie. This movie it hit all the right notes, if you ask me.
Okay.
What? You're not feeling it?
No.
I know you've seen it.
Finish your thought. I'll.
No, I just as far as horror goes, I mean, they could have been really cliche with it, but there were some parts that kind of. I had a certain way when I saw the movie. I'm like, okay, I think I know what's going to happen, and it didn't happen that way. And I've seen a lot of movies to where most of the time I could figure stuff out.
Right.
With it, you know, and it didn't happen. Also, one of the people in the movie I figured was dead on as the bad person, and lo and behold, it wasn't him.
The moving truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Looking back, I wish there was more to that character because I don't know. It seemed like that was a more menacing character than the ice cream guy.
All shit.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
Than the regular person.
The dude that was in 31, right? Have you seen 31, Wolf?
I haven't seen 31.
Rob Zombie's 31? Fuck.
What it is, I just haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
I was walking home from work and thinking about it, and I think the problem with our villain is that it's the performance. I think the guy hasn't. The script's not bad. If you listen to what he's saying, it's fairly creepy, but he's not putting his all into it, and I don't think he looks the part quite enough. He's not very creepy looking. He just kind of stands there and says things. I guess you would be looking for something more decadent. On its own, it's kind of creepy, but when he says it, it just doesn't.
Right. So first off, it's not better than Baby Driver. That's number one. Lee, you're fucking drunk. Two, there's I think 4 kills in the movie. For a horror movie that's tame, I mean, I get it. It's a low budget film.
I get that. Yeah, I agree that there could have been more,
but there's no sort of precedent set with the antagonist, because right off the bat, when the lead comes out of her house in what looks like a hungover stupor, you see the ice cream man giving ice cream to kids. And apparently the whole deal is if he helps somebody or he stops his truck for somebody, that's bad news.
You're doomed, yeah.
I don't know. Wow. Well, okay, but I don't know. I like the creepiness of the ice cream truck, because it seemed like no matter what time of the day, it could be 10 o'clock at night and this ice cream truck is sitting outside Deanna Russo's house. Like 20 minutes before that already. He'd already been down that road. So that gives you a little bit of a creepy feeling, a little stalkerish feeling, that what the hell's going on with this ice cream truck,
I appreciate that it's an old-fashioned looking thing instead of plastered with pictures of, the 99 cone of walls, fucking Solaris, whatever.
It looks like an old milk truck.
Yeah. It's just odd. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's the direction. Maybe it could be the actor. But there's times where it felt like when he was asking a potential kill about ice cream, you get the feeling that if they gave the right answer, he was going to let them go.
Yeah.
I never got that.
Really?
I think he could have stood to be more fetishistic about his ice cream selection.
Right.
That's the rum and raisin is my favorite. He's been a bit more creepy about it. Something to take away from that and remember, but it wasn't. I don't know. Missed opportunity.
So here was something I found interesting. When I saw the movie, this is just a little bit of trivia. When I saw the movie, they mentioned a phone number, because the Deanna Russo's characters move into.
Oh, right. It's not a 555 number, right?
It's not a 555 number. No, it's she moved to like New Mexico, the small town New Mexico, or small town Texas. The phone number that comes up, it has a Seattle prefix to it, and so I looked this phone number up. It exists. It's a real number, so people watch the movie. Call this number.
That's what you need to watch this movie for that phone number. But
it's like some kind of Booth World Industries thing.
It's something.
Yeah.
So Wolf,
but
go ahead.
The funny thing is that the number, she says she's from Seattle, but the number actually attaches to a company in Tacoma, which is like 40 miles south of Seattle. So.
Wolf, if you had to grade the movie 5, 10 stars, or whatever, what would you give Ice Cream Truck?
I give it like 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4, so 75%.
Yeah, 75%.
Okay.
I mean, I think when Kevin and I reviewed this, we said like basically 7 out of 10, so about the same thing,
Okay. Is it better than Baby Driver?
The one thing that Baby Driver has over this movie.
The one thing? Uh-huh.
Well, no. This is a big thing, though.
Okay, I'm listening.
Is it all of it?
Got a kick-ass sound.
It could
Well-
kick-ass soundtrack. That's the
It's got a kick-ass soundtrack.
one thing.
No, it's not just a one thing, but I'm just saying. I mean, this movie really doesn't have much going for it in the sound department. I mean, it's really stripped down to the bare essentials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
But
yeah. I mean, I'll chalk that up to the budget. I mean, there's there's
really
no
can't
coverage.
Compare the two, though. You can't really compare the two.
Get Out.
I mean, honestly,
Get Out. I'm not telling you Get Out. Compare it to Get Out. Is which film is better?
Get Out's better.
Okay. Our good friend Lee has Get Out 14 positions below Ice Cream Truck.
Oh wow! Really?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so it didn't ring with them. That's fine. Shawshank didn't ring with me. I mean,
do you hear what we're talking about here? Get Out, Shawshank, and Ice Cream Truck. Listen, I get that you've interviewed the filmmakers and what have you, but
no, it's not just that. I actually dug the movie, but yeah, Get Out's better. That's easily better.
Okay, all right. So you're sane. At least you're sane.
I think I gave Get Out like a 3 3.75 or 4 out of 4 when I saw it. I really dug Get Out. It was something that came out of nowhere and just blew my mind. This is a good movie. It did not blow my mind.
Right. So there's things that just don't make. There's just like counterproductive things that happen in that movie. Like the woman, we get all this exposition from Deanna Russo. Is that her name?
Deanna Russo.
Yeah. So we get this load of exposition when the neighbor, which if you've seen my video, I put it up recently. The neighbor asks, "How long ago did you move here?" And then she just gives information after information after information. Let's run on sentences, and the neighbor's just standing there like, and then the next
with a child on her hip, probably quite heavy child.
right. And then the next scene, Deanna Russo's on the phone with her husband saying, "Oh, the neighbor's just so nosy," and it's like, what are you talking about? The neighbor asked you one question, and you fucking just had a run-on sentence forever.
Well, she wasn't the only neighbor that was. Most of those neighbors were just kind of like creepy as shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think the execution,
including the 18-year-old, he was pretty
damn
God, creepy.
The 45-year-old, 18-year-old, which that's another thing. Go ahead, Emily.
The actor was only 28, but that's still 10 years too many.
Dude, he looks older than me.
You say so.
You think that guy looks
what cream
18?
are you using?
I don't think he looks 18, but I don't think he looks 45 either.
I didn't say I was 44. Hold on a second. No, it's just the execution's a little funky. Like they were trying to show one movie, but they were telling another. It was just really, really odd. Like, yeah, it's one thing if you want, like the music set the tone. But there's nothing that fills it. Like, they have these weird synth score things, and it's just her sleeping on a couch, and it's just like, okay. And then the fact that she's saying that the neighbor is nosy, but we've just witnessed the exact contrary to that. So it feels like ideas were mixed. I don't know.
See, I don't know. I just figured that since she was the only person there at this house in the middle of she moved back to her hometown. That's the whole thing. And she should be comfortable there. But she just didn't seem like she was comfortable. So when someone's coming up talking to her, she's just going to blurt out whatever, probably just to talk to the person, because she just, she'd rather have her husband there and her 2 kids.
Right. And speaking of her husband and 2 kids, the act that she performed towards the end of the film, only to say, "Oh, my husband's back, everything's okay," that doesn't make sense to me as a protagonist.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Plus,
no, I'm not saying this movie was perfect. I'm not even close to saying that.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. So we'll agree Lee's drunk. That's basically the point is. Oh wait, people are.
Well,
go ahead. The chat is talking.
Yeah, sure. I'm like, yeah, sure, we could agree with that.
Fuck you, Wolf, haha. I don't know. That might be for Nirvana.
What did he do?
That might be for Nirvana.
Probably. But I'm from Seattle. We had to listen to the crappy music in the clubs before they were popular. So I've always not liked them.
It's worth the hype. It has few issues. Definitely worth seeing in theaters. CCP. I knew it. Yeah, here we go again. Now all I need is okay. So Dennis thought you would like it. There's always issues with any film. Yeah. There you are, waiting on the iPad. Had to refresh. He says hello. Hey, CP Emily Wolfman. Hey, Dino.
Hey, Dino.
Hope everything's all right with you, man. I saw something about something. Don't hang in there. YouTube's bullshit, but it's bullshit for all of us. Hey guys, looking to title the stream can only end well or an awkwardness or both. Well, yeah, we'll get to the awkward part now. It's complex. Ice cream truck would get a 6 out of 10 on my scale. Wow.
That's fair. That's fair.
The killer wasn't scary enough for me. Yeah, I second that. When I first heard of Ice Cream Truck, I hoped that it would be like Rubber.
I still need to finish that movie. I never got all the way through it.
It's kind of a weird movie. I imagine difficult to work in one sitting.
And Patrick says, "What's up, guys?" And Emily.
And Emily.
Hello.
And what's up, Patrick? I can't wait till you get this message in 4 minutes. So,
oh yeah, that's right. She said hello.
All right, so the topic of today's episode is Oedipus Complex. Although we're not strictly focusing on that because Oedipus Complex is. Let me get you the Wikipedia definition of an.
Oh, good. We're starting off defining our terms.
Well,
that makes a change.
Well, we're not strictly beholden to this. The Oedipus Complex is a concept of psychoanalytic theory coined by Sigmund Freud in 1910. It refers to a child's unconscious desire for the opposite sex parent, thought of as necessary stage of psychosexual development. Freud considered that the child's identification with the same-sex parent is the successful resolution of the complex, and that unsuccessful resolution of the complex might lead to neurosis, pedophilia, and homosexuality.
So yeah, that's fun.
So yeah,
I hope everyone got all that.
Yeah. So apparently, when a child is developing, it's natural to have some sort of sexual feelings towards your opposite sex parent. And the landmark film to really kind of start that, I guess, would be Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's classic Psycho.
Yeah, but in all fairness, that was, I mean, as we bring this up, I mean, Psycho was based on Ed Gein. Ed Gein in himself had these problems as it was, He only had a mother around, and he was always trying to please her. I mean, he wound up killing her, making a bodysuit out of women. I mean,
didn't he make a soup bowl out of her head? Ed Gein?
Out of me. I'm not sure
he had.
How do you do that? It would all come out the eye sockets.
No,
not the skull. The I mean, I don't know.
Cap, the skull cap.
Right.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes more sense.
The chicken soup's falling out.
It's like a weird goblet. You got to get underneath it, It's a weird scene out of Hamlet,
Make a skull bong. Sorry. Yeah, no, we've deviated already. Yeah, no, that is a good point. Which is that exclusively like I felt like some of it, some of the influence on Norman Bates,
Psycho?
was like the taxidermy was part of it too, but the mother really.
Yeah, the taxidermy.
Go ahead.
Relation to the taxidermy. No, yeah, I mean, you see the evolution from that to TCM, because he also made like lampshades out of skin.
Another one that was closely tied to Ed Gein, right?
Yeah, and a belt out of nipples. You know.
Huh.
Well, that was the Ed Gein part. That wasn't TCM, but yeah. You know, I mean, he was only I guess credited is not the right word, but he's only been known for killing 2 women. Yet he found a ton of nipples to make a belt out of.
Well, right. He was only accused of committing 2 murders, but he was grave robbing like a fucking fiend. Yeah. So, whatever that's worth. So cinema.
Yeah. Let's go back to Psycho.
Why do you guys think that it spawned some sort of I don't know, subgenre of sorts? This mother, I mean, shit, I haven't seen much of it, but Bates Motel, they dive pretty heavily into that relationship. Yeah, I've seen. Go ahead, Emma.
It's not important.
Nope.
I was going to say, I think a lot of what we saw in the first movie was, some of it was implied, but I think a great deal of it was so convoluted or peculiar that it had to be explained by a psychiatrist at the very end, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if this branch of psychiatry was still in its infancy at the time of the film's release, or when Freud was popular. To be honest, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, fuck Freud. It's Jung all the way.
Yeah, okay.
Is that a bit of a slip there?
Yeah, Jung.
Yeah, I'm all into Nietzsche, so
Nietzsche.
Yeah, Nietzsche rocks.
Listen, it's all about Jesus Christ. All of it doesn't matter anything.
No, it's kind of funny that a lot of people that wrote movies have found like really twisted ways to portray parents.
Daniel Hammond's got one on deck too. That's worth talking about. But go ahead.
Well, if you listen to Wes Craven talk, he was raised in a fundamentalist Baptist church his entire life, and he wasn't allowed to see regular movies until he actually went into college. Only thing his parents allowed him to see were like Disney films. You know, up until he's like 18. You know, so he saw like Pinocchio and Cinderella and Lady and the Tramp, and that was pretty much, you know, his whole cinematic thing. So when you get into what he wrote later, you know, all the villains are just like these bonkers, shit crazy, you know, type of characters. And I think that's where people go, well, okay, if that's what happened to Wes Craven growing up, then in the movies, we can take this fundamentalist, religious, right-wing nut job and have her turn her kid into Satan. You know? Which... Not Satan so much, but Carrie.
Yeah, that's. I was just going to say, Daniel Hammond just brought that up in the chat. He said Carrie's mom is one of the craziest, and you were talking about religion. I'm like, hurry up, so I can just segue right into this. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, Carrie's mom was out there.
Quite something, yeah.
Mommy dearest plus.
Mommy dearest. That's a very good way to put it. Mommy dearest plus.
Without the wire hangers. No wire hangers.
No, not the wire hangers, but we get to hear about her dirty pillows.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't see. I'm forgetting how the mom died in Psycho. How did the mom die? She just died of natural causes, right? It was just a corpse.
No,
he killed her.
Carrie stabbed her to
No, Psycho.
Psycho, yeah. The mother was killed by Norman Bates along with her new lover because jealousy, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Norman wanted to be the one to get it in, you know, just
eloquently put so.
Made you smile.
So they're kind of different relationships, Norman Bates with his mother and Carrie with hers, but similar results.
Yeah.
You do get the impression that Carrie does genuinely care for her mother in spite of all the whole torrent of abuse thing.
Right. And the abuse is merely suggested in Psycho.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Very true. No, it's just weird. I mean, Emily, you brought up before we went live, you brought up Sleepaway Camp.
I did, but I don't think I'm qualified to talk about it because I haven't seen it.
That and you have a penis. No.
Took me a second.
You need to make this face now. No, sorry.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Wes says Norman Bates openly liked his mother a bit too much, mayhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's just interesting levels that I mean, is there any similarities between? I mean, we're progressing down the line. I really want to bring up Pamela and Jason in Friday the 13th, but that's fucking tame compared to all this.
Well, one of my favorite scenes in Psycho is in the parlor, I suppose, when he is watching her eat like a bird, so to speak, and I don't know. He's by turns quite upset with his mother, but also very protective, defensive of her, which suggests kind of this, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, but at that time, I mean, we don't realize it, but at that time, if you go back and watch it, you're like, okay, his psyche's pretty much snapped by now. He's now into, Norman 2.0 instead of like Norman. Instead of just the crazy Norman, he's now on doing the stuff where he's like, I gotta look normal and talk nice about my mom, even though.
You don't think he was trying to open up about what a burden caring was, despite how much?
I think he would say anything at that time to make sure she stays in the room.
Well, do you think at that moment Hitchcock is just totally mind fucking the audience, because here we are as far as moral ground is concerned. Our lead actress we've witnessed her steal, and as far as we know, Norman is just a sweetheart. But when the shower scene happens, everything gets flipped on its head, where Norman is everything but a sweetheart. And all right, so she stole, but I don't think it was warranting a murder.
Hello, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hello.
Welcome nice and early. You're actually going to be, if we add your appearances, you've now been on a full show.
Hey.
Woohoo!
So we were talking about Psycho, the interesting relationship there, comparisons to Carrie. I don't know if you've seen. I'm assuming you've seen Psycho. I don't know if you've seen Carrie.
Both versions. Yeah. Well, two versions of Carrie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One with Chloe Grace Moretz, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Brian De Palma one.
Mm-hmm.
The real one.
Okay.
The real one, yeah.
So we've been making parallels to the relationships of both Carrie's mom and Norman Bates. Do you have anything to add, or?
Well, there's the obvious kind of repression of sexuality that is inherent in both characters. You got
True.
It seems to be this. The psychosis seems to come out of never really truly being able to grow up. Anything about adulthood isn't acknowledged by the parent and is therefore suppressed. So with Norman, it's the lust for other women, whereas with Carrie, it's the literal becoming a woman. She's going through puberty, and certain aspects of that which are quite horrendous, quite horrific, quite brilliantly dealt with in another film called Ginger Snaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're kind of just almost not acknowledged by the mother in any kind of real way, in any kind of way that should be dealt with. So because of that, it makes her feel like a freak, basically. And the same with Norman. So this idea that you have to suppress something that is either natural or expected kind of turns you into the very thing that, I guess, trying to suppress that thing is an act of guarding you against. So
See, this is why abstinence-only education does not work, because one of these days someone is just going to set the school on fire. I think that's just what we should take from this. Out of sheer frustration.
Do we consider Carrie a protagonist?
I do.
Yes.
Wolf,
No?
did you say no?
Well, I mean, she's getting picked on, but I mean, I don't consider her the good person in the movie. I don't think there are any good people in that movie, to be honest.
Mm.
A protagonist isn't someone who's necessarily good, though. A protagonist is someone who we, as the audience, are asked to identify with. They're the one who goes on the journey. So,
Mm-hmm.
in
We
the
are
film,
meant to, yeah.
yeah. So
We are meant
the
to
film is about her journey. So, just you know.
Bye, Emily.
Sorry.
So then in Psycho, you
In Psycho, it turns because we're set up to believe that it's Vivian Leigh who is the protagonist, and that's what's so shocking. Which is that when she is suddenly killed, we as the audience are left thinking, "Oh, crap! Who are we actually following then?" And then the story suddenly does this turn, and you realise, "Oh, this is Norman's story, not hers." So.
Yeah, it's Janet Leigh, by the way.
Oh, Janet Leigh. Sorry, yeah, Janet
Leigh. Good job, Wolf. Nice catch. So, all right. So I'll go back to Friday the 13th. The story that Pamela gives kind of leads you to understand why she would do such a thing, but I don't know if
maybe she took it a tad too far.
Right. Like I feel in the two cases, Psycho and Carrie, at least, you know, because of the abuse that they've received, you're more willing to be like, oh well, you know.
It seems more of a direct lashing out than years later approaching a random counselor.
Right. You killed my son. No, I didn't. I was 4 when this happened.
The thing with Voorhees, though, with Mrs. Voorhees, I get the sense there that there's actually a lot of guilt that is driving her, because, like, she knew her son was clearly being bullied, and yet he was left for long enough in that kind of environment where something that terrible would happen to him. And I kind of feel like she is then, rather than taking any responsibility as a parent at all to protect him, it's kind
of how to swim if you're going to work out there at a camp.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like, you know, it's too little, too late. So now, rather than accepting whatever guilt there may be on her part, she's snapped, and instead she throws it all on these other people.
Which is kind of what Norman was doing when I think about it.
Yeah.
Assuming somebody else's personality to escape from the, you know, horror of what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Carrie didn't.
Carrie doesn't really fit this particular.
Well, it was just a fucked up relationship that was going on there.
Right. If you notice, in most cases, every one of the kids only has a single parent.
Well, Psycho, it was. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Wasn't she with a boyfriend or something like that, or somebody else?
A boyfriend, but I mean,
yeah, but not a father.
Yeah.
Can we think of a movie where there's a messed up relationship, but it was 2 parents?
Michael Myers in the Halloween 2007.
Yeah. That's. I wanted to bring that up because it's.
Okay.
It pissed me off, to be honest. That's one of the things that I hated about the film, because.
Oh, that's just. I have a laundry list of things I hate about that.
Yeah. Likewise.
I enjoyed the F word, but man, we get it.
Yeah. Oh man, good grief. There's more F words in the opening 20 minutes of that than in the entirety of one of your videos. But no, it wound me up because what made Michael Myers so unique, like, you know, you talk about the big three.
Mm-hmm.
You've got clear distinctions between those three characters. You've got Jason Voorhees, mummy issues.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Freddy Krueger. It's all about revenge, and he's a sick, twisted guy, but he
borderline pedophiliac. Yeah,
he was punished.
And Michael Myers,
so
nobody really knows.
Michael Myers is just evil. It's just like, it's pure evil.
Yeah,
Literally.
exactly.
A normal kid, one day, by all intents and purposes, fairly loving parents, pretty decent parents, and for whatever reason, a light switch went off, and that was it. And that's, you know, you look at all the speeches that Donald Pleasance gave in those first few movies. That was summed it up beautifully. The fact that actually this cannot be explained. I am a psychiatrist who's worked with this guy for 20 years. There is nothing to be found. There's no explanation. He's just pure evil. Yeah. And so that separates Michael Myers from Voorhees and from Krueger. So the minute Zombie got his hands on it, he just turned him into another Jason Voorhees, somebody with mummy issues.
In his defense, he was following Carpenter's advice to make the film his own, which he assuredly did. Yeah. But I agree with you. I don't think we needed to know his backstory or what made him as evil as he was.
He was bullied while he was put away. Ooh, that's going to turn him into a bad guy. It's like, give me a break.
His mom's a stripper.
You know? Yeah, his mom is Rob Zombie's wife. So.
Oh, that'll scar anybody. Well, yeah,
the mother character didn't really seem that bad from the few scenes I saw.
The relationship that the parents have is really toxic too. Like, I don't know. There's a part of me that understands why he tried doing that, but it's like you said, Brian. Like, you know, you're putting something in that just isn't necessary.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah, Emily, was it you that talked about the Black Christmas remake? Were they?
Yeah, I was thinking about serial killers that had mommy issues retconned in. So the Black Christmas remake, they showed his mother, they showed his mother's abuse of him, keeping him in the attic, having a child with him, which explains Agnes, and none of it was really needed, in my opinion, because he was still going to commit horrific acts regardless, and it didn't add anything to... Again, he's one of those characters you're not supposed to know much about. Yeah,
and Carpenter somewhat famously said that he liked the fact that Michael Myers had this blank canvas of a mask that, you know, there was, you know, you're projecting your fears onto him because there's you know, there's no reason for what he's doing. But
Billy in Black Christmas, we don't really see his face. We see part of an eyeball. That's it.
Right.
Similar school of thought, I guess.
Were you going to say something, Wolf?
No, I'm agreeing with you about the Michael Myers thing. It's like, it's like the mask is completely emotionless. You can't get a complete read off of what Michael Myers is like because that's just it. You know, it's thing.
Yeah,
I agree with everything that Brian said about the remake. I mean, it's the one thing that has always bugged me. I know guys, and the guys that I respect and I've known for many years that love Halloween movie, and they're like, well, it was more brutal. You know, it's like, yeah, so what? That's
Star Generation talking, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
probably, yes.
Brutal. And I'm like, yeah, but everything that Brian said, Michael Myers doesn't need to be explained. I've always said it this way. This is how I sum up Michael Myers. Michael Myers is the epitome of all evil. There's nothing else to be said. You know, I mean, just like Brian said, he woke up one day and, hey, he just wanted to kill his sister. What the hell?
Yeah, it's Halloween. I'm going to do something fun.
It's Halloween. I've got this little clown mask. I'm going to go upstairs and stab my naked sister.
But even
for me,
even that, like, there's the original Halloween. You can read something in there about him seeing his sister getting naked and having sex with this guy
Right.
is the thing that is the thing that makes him snap for whatever reason. But that's literally as much explanation as we're ever going to get, or ever should get. Was that opening scene? He sees his sister having nookie with this fella, although it lasts like 20 seconds. So he's like the quickest guy in the world. But it just, for whatever reason, seeing that depiction of adulthood made him snap. And I don't know. It's just that's about as close as I want to get to an explanation. But you don't even have to read that into the original if you don't want to. It's just convenient that she happened to be having sex at that time, or just prior to that time. But family dynamics of trying to make us sympathize with Myers on some kind of human level, as if it makes what he does more acceptable. And then
it's pretty misguided.
Yeah, and it's like in the second film, most of his victims are complete douchebags.
Yeah,
it's like he literally.
Like he's a force for justice all of a sudden.
Yeah, big time. He's like the proper social justice warrior. Like, what on earth?
Well, he'll get his membership into the Justice League sometime.
Well, is it fair to make a comparison like that and say one thing? I mean, because they kind of for Rob Zombie's Halloween, they took the Friday the 13th to a degree. The whole, all right, he's doing this because, well, actually, not even. Let me retract what I was going to say, because it's not.
Yeah, the only thing I can compare it to really is the TCM, the beginning, the prequel to the
remake, right?
Right. They did the same thing in that one. They showed like young Leatherface's face, and he's like, I got the whole Jason thing going on because he doesn't look like a normal kid. And the kids bully him, and it's like, so I'm supposed to sympathize with the guy that goes around with the chainsaw chopping people up. That's not going to happen.
I hate to admit it. That's what endears me to Friday the 13th. The whole dynamic that the mother was killing because she was pissed off that they let her son die, and then the fact that he's killing because they killed his mom. It was a sweet. It was a nice little tie-in to a worthless movie. Yeah, I'll just stop talking.
See, I never felt.
It's a Hallmark commercial, everybody.
The family that slays together.
Stays together.
I never felt any sympathy for Mrs. Voorhees. I felt sympathy for Jason in that, when we hear what she says, what happened to her son. And then to a degree in the second film, I still a bit of that sympathy carries over, but then it soon dissipates. So by the time you get to the third film, there's no sympathy at all. It's just you want to see this guy go around killing people, but there's still that backstory there, and it's like I don't want that same backstory transferred to every single horror icon that we come across. I mean, what we're going to learn about Pennywise in the next It film? Are we going to learn he was some kind of circus freak who was bullied by the rest of the circus clowns? And
don't even get that was never said. Nobody heard that. I want to make sure that's never gets into.
Do we know of a movie where there's a troublesome parenting relationship that doesn't end in the child doing something extravagantly antisocial? Is there a strained relationship? I mean, I'm thinking of the Babadook, but that's not.
That kid's just weird.
It's kind of the other way around. The mom just can't take it.
So you mean a movie where the kid should be screwed up but isn't?
Right. Like
no.
It seems like all right. If you've had a bad upbringing, you're going to kill people. That's kind of the cinematic.
Well, The Exorcist. I mean, the mother is a actress. She's well paid. They have a pretty good lifestyle. But Pazuzu, I mean, it's not the white trash family of Rob Zombie's Halloween, you know. But it just goes to show that, you know, good things happen to all kinds of people.
There's Near Dark, if that counts, because that's kind of a, if you look at Near Dark, there's that whole family dynamic there, and the girl who is kind of the surrogate daughter to this family that goes around killing people. She kind of distances herself from them, and in the end manages to get away from them. But
I was going to say the Cape Fear remake, because that is one dysfunctional fucking family. But they have a common enemy, so it kind of works out in the end. I mean, it would have worked out a lot sooner if they communicated and all that kind of business. But
Dennis said my backstory. I haven't started killing yet. That's the only difference here.
I read something about your backstory the other day on Facebook.
I'm just getting started. Oh wait, the chat kind of came up right up under my feet. Michael Myers is literally the boogeyman. If Donald Pleasance says so, it must be true, because we all trust Donald Pleasance, obviously, until Rob Zombie made his mom a stripper. LOL. Not just because of what Donald Pleasance says, that we don't know anything about him before the film. He could have been abused. He could have been pampered. Knowing would ruin the mystery. Yeah, I agree thoroughly. I think that's kind of what we were getting at. Well, this could be old information too. Yeah, I was being flippant. It's my nature, but there are loads of stuff indicating the guy wouldn't be. The guy is beyond logical explanation, like his sudden acquisition of driving skills. I don't know why people harp on that so much.
I know. How hard is that?
I don't know. It does have a backstory. Yeah, Brian. Look into Aliens. That's, yeah. What about Donnie Darko? Short on abusive, but neither side can handle Donnie's mental issues properly and puts a lot of strain on them.
Okay.
What about the stepfather?
I think they're talking about the movie.
Yeah, but the stepfather's the one who kills people. Jason Hamilton in the house. What's up, Jason? Larry Oliver's Hamlet is pretty obvious issues with his mom and ends up killing 5 people. Or Orphan. Yeah, you're going backwards.
I suppose American Psycho shows the other extreme, where you have a very spoiled, entitled thing. Sorry, my computer wants to restart. Yeah, but it's never really it's never really explained what made him the way he is, or if he's that way despite his upbringing and all the privileges that came with it, or because of it. We just don't know.
Yeah, I saw that movie.
Big yuppie culture. American Psycho?
Maybe. Yeah.
That's Bone.
It's what?
That's Bone.
And the font is something called Cerulean Rouge. Do I have that right? I hope I do.
I got that 830 res at Dorsia. Sorry, I was just on a quote spree. Excuse me. Yeah, so I guess there aren't It appears to be in film that if you have a messed up upbringing, you're gonna do something wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I keep on thinking of like all the other movies that have children in it. You know, Children of the Corn has no parents in it, and yet they're all nut jobs.
Well, they did have parents before the.
But they killed them.
Yes.
All right, so
they say that, like, if you look at horror movies that center around children tend to be about the fear of losing your children. And horror movies that center around teenagers seem to be based around the fear of
knocking your
coming
girlfriend
into
up.
adulthood. So growing into men and women. And horror movies that center around horror movies that center around children seem to be about losing the parents. Horror movies that center around adults seem to be about losing children.
Babadook kind of walks the line between those two, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a definite fear of losing a lot of things in that, sanity being one of them. But it focuses on the mother, and I think there's a fear there of losing her child in one way or another. Yeah, I mean, you look at horror movies that primarily about teenagers, there does tend to be some kind of underlying theme there about growing into adulthood. So, going back to Carrie and films like that. But
and you said films about children or about losing the
parents. Yeah. So, like, having no adult protection tends to be quite a big theme amongst them. So,
not the Omen. Or that
aside
count.
from films where the child is supposed to be creepy and there's an outside force, like The Omen, or that film with all the children born at the same time, glowy eyes. I forget what it's called.
Village of the Damned.
That's that might be it.
So not Rosemary's Baby then either. Then
no.
Well, Rosemary's Baby is more about the fear of the child because it focuses on the parent, doesn't it, Rosemary?
Yeah.
So it's the fear that there is something wrong with your child.
I was watching a film today.
That's kind of. Go ahead.
I was watching a film today called. I couldn't finish it because, god damn, it's depressing. But we need to talk about Kevin, which not a horror, but
it's been lit up in the chat for the last couple of people brought it up. Yeah.
Do you want to go to the chat or?
No. We need to talk about Kevin's a great film. We need to talk about Kevin. False Proxy Session says that. Dan Hammond says great film. And then Dennis says, not Kevin from Home Alone. No, Dennis, not Kevin from Home Alone. We can talk. Hey, White Tim, what's going on? So go ahead, Emily. What made you bail on this wonderful film so early?
Well, it was depressing for one thing, and also I do not own the film, so halfway through I was having some troubles. But yeah, very similar. Playing on the adult fear of being a bad mother or not connecting with your child, which is kind of prevalent in the Babadook as well. It does focus on the child to some extent, namely what the hell is going wrong with them.
So I have an incorrect idea of what that film was about. I thought it was a really heavily Oedipus Complex. Like
which film?
We need to talk about Kevin.
All right, I've still not seen. We need to talk about Kevin.
All right.
Well, I won't spoil the ending for you or the twist, but what was I going to say? But yeah, the focus is much more on the mother and her struggle with her son. It's kind of interesting because he seems to have been a difficult child from the get-go, and it's not clear whether it's a nature or nurture type thing. She's not a very good mother, but then he is a very difficult child, so I thought that was kind of interesting. The film kind of takes both sides.
So would you say that the mother is the protagonist in the film?
I would say so, although she does a couple of things which you can sympathize with, but are very clearly wrong.
Well, like I say, a protagonist doesn't have to be someone that you like. It's just someone that we kind of. It's their journey we're following. So it's down to.
She's definitely the one we follow. So yes.
Yeah. So like in that regard, I would imagine, having not seen the film, that the film would mostly be about that fear of either losing one's child, or that there is something wrong with one's child. So if you're putting the audience into the adult perspective, and the film is going to gear towards that kind of fear that actually my child isn't right.
Jason Hamilton says, "Happy birthday to me" was about 3 kids born on the same night during the eclipse, and they killed their parents on their 10th birthday.
Actually, that's Bloody Birthday.
Yeah, of course, you would know how to correct that one.
Does it have more than one title?
For children turning against you, the various versions of the Midwich Cuckoos, or the Village of the Damned, whatever you want to call it. I never heard of it as Midwich Cuckoos.
Yeah.
Is that a UK thing?
No, isn't that the original story on which it was based?
Oh, I don't know that. Pretty creepy seeing something more and more wrong with them. And Jason says, "Thank you, Wolfman. He's got it right. I got it wrong. My bad." Once again, Wolf with the save.
Bloody Birthday. It's a good movie, man. It came out in what, like 81?
Okay, give me some obscure actor that's in it that I'll never know.
No, that's okay.
Oh, John McMontees. That was his third film, and then he stopped doing. After a couple episodes of MASH, he didn't do anything else after that. So wait, I want to go back to Rosemary's Baby really quick, Brian. The whole mothering thing, for the most part, that movie's her pregnant. We don't really have the
well, you don't. The main fear there is that there is something seriously wrong
with the neighbors,
with her baby. She's the protagonist. We're following her. It's her journey. We're being asked to identify with her. The scary thing about that film, from her character's perspective, is that, holy crap, I could be giving birth to the son of the devil. What could be more scary than that as a parent?
She doesn't really find that out until the end. It's more a fear of the neighbors up to that point.
It's just
there's a pervading fear throughout, because she
we get
knows
the sense
that
it's an unhealthy pregnancy, but
but
she's still kind of clueless.
But the whole neighbors and all that stuff is kind of trippy. That has nothing to do with the birth of the child. Like that's what am I trying to say? Like those are elements that have nothing to do with the birth of her child.
But that's where the whole film's leading, and it's like as you follow her through this journey, and things slowly start to dawn on her. Like you can't just start out the film. You can't start out the film by just telling her, by the way, there's something wrong with your baby, because that's the journey. The journey she goes on is that there's this slow dawning, this realization that, crap, something's wrong with my baby. That's her journey.
In terms of this stream subject, I suppose, what I'm interested is how the second film plays out, because that involves her trying to raise the son of the devil and give him the best start in life, I suppose. It sort of ends with her taking on that role of mother, and you don't know if she's compelled to because hormones, or if she genuinely wants to turn the tide somewhat and make her child more than what he was destined to be. Like I said, I haven't seen it, so I'm interested to see how they deal with that.
So, are you actually? There's a second film.
There's a sequel.
There's a made-for-TV movie that came out in like '74. Patty Duke took over the role of Rosemary.
Good grief!
The only person that returns from the original film is Ruth Gordon.
Wow,
Has been replaced.
That sounds like a really bad idea.
Yeah. I didn't know about it till just now myself.
See, there's certain kinds of horror films. There's horror films that lead you into darkness and then bring you out into the light at the end. And then there's horror films that literally just lead you to the darkness and then and leave you there. And
those are the ones I like.
Yeah, well, they're the ones that don't need sequels. It's pointless giving those kind of films a sequel, because that's the whole point. They leave you in a place that is very uncomfortable.
I mean, what about the Omen trilogy, though? I don't know if that was always going to be a trilogy, but the story works over the course of 3 films, and it's basically the same thing, Son of the Devil.
Well, technically, the books
Oh,
were written before the movie. So, so there was. I mean, I don't know if they always wanted to do all 4 books. They did do all 4 books. Three regular movies and a made-for-TV movie, The Awakening.
Yeah,
I guess maybe that doesn't count because.
What was that? Mistake? Is that what you said, Brian?
like, to me, the first Omen film leaves you in a place where there's just a lot of uncertainty. So it's again, it's that dropping you down a black hole and leaving you there. And I feel like it's a mistake to come back.
You don't see the subsequent films as leading further into the darkness?
In a kind of Godfather kind of way, maybe, but then that brings back my old argument that actually the Godfather Part 2 never does anything that the first film didn't already do, which is why, to me, it's a lesser film.
Well, I actually think it's better than the original. But
most people do. Most people do. I don't. I just, for me, if you come back with a sequel, you have to tell me something or take me on a journey that I've not already been on. And it doesn't do that. Don't get me wrong. For me, it's still a 5-star film. Godfather 2, absolutely brilliant film. But if you want to ask me why I think the first one is better, it's because
why is the first one better?
It said everything.
I bet you didn't like Toy Story 3 either.
I didn't.
Toy Story 3 is my favourite of the Toy Story.
But it's the same story as the second one.
No, not quite.
I actually hated Toy Story 3.
No, because the first two Toy Story films are still about staying in that childlike place, of childhood and having imagination. The third film actually goes where the other two didn't, which is to say, actually, there is a time that comes when you have to put away childish things.
So it does something else.
Yeah. So it does something the other two didn't. Whereas Godfather had a good man who goes on a path that actually leads him into the very opposite of a good man. He's had his descent. The closing shot of The Godfather, we go in, that door closes, that's all you need. And we come back, we have a second film, which admittedly is a great film, but it's just, we just stay with him in that descent. So it doesn't really go anywhere that we've not already seen. It doesn't tell us anything.
The second in a trilogy is usually weaker anyway.
Godfather 1, Anakin. Godfather 2, Darth Vader. I'm not saying anything else.
I actually think that when it comes to part 2 of The Godfather, I don't think he's still in the same descent. I think he's actually trying to step out of the evil shadow and bring the family.
No, he's going down the drain.
No, I think he's trying to bring his family into legitimacy by he moved everything out to Nevada. He's trying to actually be in the casinos legitimately, and get the family out of the crime. It's his
nothing. Sorry,
it's his crazy sister that doesn't want the family out of it.
Never marry a wop. They treat the wops like shit. Sorry, another quote.
Was that Mickey Mouse? What was that?
Yeah, that was the drunk. I don't remember.
Talia Shire.
Was it her? It was somebody drunk at the wedding. Yeah. But yeah, John Cazale in Godfather 2 is worth every second.
It was you, Fredo. You broke my heart.
That scene that I emulated, just so.
Yeah.
So we could shift over to subtext, symbolic, alien, kind of about parenting, about the worst type of. Maybe not.
Alien.
Yeah. It's
that child didn't turn out so good.
Well, I mean, we could avoid Alien and go to Aliens, where Sigourney Weaver takes on this. What was that?
John Hurt referred to a baby alien. Okay.
Well, no, it was kind of stringing off of what Brian was talking about earlier. That it's kind of a fear of pregnancy,
motherhood. If you're a man, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. So I'll take every.
The alien itself is shaped like a penis, so
well, one of them is
bursts forth from a guy's chest. That's I'm sure that's every guy's fear. But
all right, so I'll skip Alien. That's fine. Aliens. Sigourney Weaver takes on the role of a mother for
Yeah, there's definitely a theme of motherhood in Aliens. The fact that she goes up against the mother of the aliens whilst bringing up essentially this surrogate daughter that she's found. It's yeah, very much so.
Anybody else thoughts on Alien? Dennis says Junior. Mr. Movie says Godfather 3 Jar Jar Binks. That's probably accurate. Mr. Movie said exactly what I was going to say. Alien Resurrection was more open to what I'm saying. CP. Alien Resurrection. Oh yeah, they kind of have that.
Yeah, there is an alien born of
horrible.
The disgusting snotty thingy, whatever.
Yeah. That's the skull alien, right? The one with the person face, but still the penis head.
With the eyeballs, yeah.
No. Alien's like a fetus that doesn't. Alien's like a fetus that doesn't want to stay in the belly for a full 9 months and causes a self-inflicted C-section. Great scene in Prometheus. Say what you want about this series, but there's a bunch of weird allusions to motherhood or pregnancy sprinkled throughout. What with the newborn choosing Ripley over the alien queen? Yeah. Piglet West says nothing. Sorry, you have to have
type
clickbaity. You have to have a link and refer to some pornographic site for me to say what you typed.
Your name's got to be Russian and Natasha.
Yeah, right. You have to have koala bears on the chat. So yeah, we're all caught up on the chat.
Was that like 3 weeks in a row we brought up Natasha?
Well, she keeps coming back. I can't help it. Emily, what do you have on your list there? Anything we didn't touch on?
Okay, so I had Frances Dolarhyde, whose grandmother was not the nicest. There was the whole monologue. Oh no, not a voiceover at the beginning of her threatening to cut it off because he peed himself, which is another thing that I don't know.
Who's Frances Dolarhyde? I don't
know. Red Dragon.
The Tooth Fairy from Red Dragon,
Right.
I don't think it's a feature that features in Manhunter, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know what his relationship was with his grandmother.
You don't need to.
I also have May from the movie May, whose mother gives her that doll, which is thenceforth her only friend, and you're not a fan of that movie, are you, Brian?
Which one's that, sorry?
May.
May?
Are you not a fan?
Oh no, that was directed at CP.
He's still wincing about me saying you don't need to see Manhunter. I said, yeah, Brian, I don't even need this steelbook. You can go ahead and just take it.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Emily, go ahead.
So May is an interesting take on the Frankenstein formula, where there is a girl who does not have that many friends growing up due to a lazy eye, just being awkward, etc. Her mother gives her a creepy doll that she made herself with the adage, if you can't find a friend, make one. And from thenceforth
she does.
Things do not. Who does?
She does. She makes a friend.
Well, yeah, she makes a friend out of a few other friends. I don't want to spoil the movie too much, but
the whole Frankenstein angle, I think you can kind of add up.
The doll is present throughout the movie. May carries her around with her. It has conversations. You can see the glass breaking at some point, so it's not really clear what the deal with the doll is. But yeah, I'm pretty sure her mother screwed her up some. And that's all I have on the list, really.
Even like Child's Play. If you look at Child's Play, that film for much of its running time is essentially about the fear again of this parent who thinks her child is going crazy because he's saying that his doll is alive and she just thinks he's nuts. Sixth Sense as well, he sees dead people. She thinks he's nuts.
His mother's trying her best, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. she's definitely trying her best. It's a great character. It's a great film. But the fear there is actually there's something wrong with my son. Not what any parent wants to hear.
No, quite. I suppose maybe you could talk about the teenagers from the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, as there was supposed to be a theme of negligence or neglect from the parents in that movie.
When you think about what they did, and then they kept it a secret, they're actually keeping secrets from their own children.
For their benefit, or?
Mainly out of
I think
guilt.
they're covering their own asses.
Covering their own asses, yeah, big time. So, and again, that's when as a child you look up to your parent, and there's that quote in The Crow which I always like, which is, "In the eyes of a child, mother is God," or something like that. Mother is the word for God, or something. And it's like, as children, you look up to the adults in your life. Are you supposed to look up to the adults in your life as guidance? And when that guidance is not worth crap, then where do you turn to? Where do you get your guidance from? That's where fear comes in, and that's what it is about as well. On the whole, these kids have to essentially fend for themselves because the town's
something wrong
turning
with Derry as a whole.
Yeah.
Did you float? Did you guys
Everyone
float this
floats.
weekend?
I
bobbed.
I bobbed. If I read
The
one
girl
more,
in front of me was bobbing.
oh, hey now.
Her boyfriend's lap a couple of times.
No. When Stephen King referenced the hurricane and said, "Make sure you don't float," I was like, "I'm done. No more. I don't care. I officially don't care. Stop saying float. Everybody stop saying float."
Float.
Thank you.
A bit tasteless, isn't
You're
it?
welcome.
Yeah, it's a little tacky.
I thought there were quite a few things about that film that were tasteless, to be honest. But there we go.
Well, apparently they left out the juiciest part of the book. So
Yeah. How do you get away with that, though?
I'm having some trouble with my connection at the moment. It's
outside.
We're getting stormy weather, 70-mile-an-hour winds tonight, they said.
You're going to float away.
No. Must you?
All right. Well, if you need to, whatever, do you need to go?
No, I'm just saying ahead of time in case the thing craps
In
out.
case we lose her.
Okay. If Emily disappears, it's because 70
It's
miles.
not because I don't like you, actually. No, it's not because I don't like you.
It's she's floating. All right. Can we stop referencing poop in the chat, please? Thank you.
Where's?
I don't know.
Stop it.
It wasn't him. What were you saying, Wolf?
I was going to say, here's an interesting family dynamic. The cannibals and The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
The old man that you meet at the very beginning of the movie that has a little gas station,
Mm-hmm.
you know, is Papa Jupe's father. He even talks about the fact that when he was born evil, and he split his skull with a shovel.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jupiter left and went off, found some whore, and and that's the way that
Raised a lovely family.
The old man says it. Says found some whore and raised him up a family. Yeah. So, I mean, just the grandfather himself was a nut job for trying to kill his kid with a shovel.
To be fair, the kid was, biting heads off chickens and killing animals and almost tore poor Martha apart right at the beginning. So.
Yeah, but if you're gonna try to kill your kid, at least finish the job. Don't just leave a slit across his nose.
Don't half-ass it.
Speaking of mommy,
Go to your room.
somebody said Martha. Batman versus Superman.
Tumbleweeds just did that.
I completely forgot about that movie.
Sorry.
I love that movie.
He froze in his tracks.
I was gonna bring up another family dynamic.
Go ahead.
Where'd I go?
Go ahead.
No, the whole market thing threw me.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Why did you say that name?
What did you do? Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
The movie was so stupid.
Whew.
It was. Again, I've said it before. The Ben Affleck part of that movie was the only good part.
Do you like movies like at all anymore?
Dude, I love all kinds of movies, but it seems like the ones I like, you sit and go, ugh.
Ice Cream Truck is so far the one where I'm like, wait, what?
But you seem to like crappy movies. I don't get it.
Well,
whatever.
I like crappy movies. What caused me to start the show is Lee has Ice Cream Truck ahead of Baby Driver, and then he has it 14 spots ahead of Get Out, and I watched it and I was like, no, sorry, Lee, no, this needs to end.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think in the first 5 minutes you'd made up your mind.
Yeah, sorry. People that went, damn, I get in trouble for taking a poop in a chat. Another month of not getting invited to a live stream is not funny. I went through a hurricane last week. Hope you stayed safe, Ryan. Oh, you Americans with your hurricanes, just shut up already. Were any of you detained in an airport? No. So, yeah, there's that. My aunt lives in Denver.
Were you accused of having an affair with Dennis?
Yeah, my week was quite tumultuous. And it's only Tuesday, so give it time. We may not say. All right, so they're talking. BVS could have been great if it would just worked out what it wanted to be.
BVS could have been great if the proper cut of the film had just been released instead of waiting until the mess of the theatrical cut was over with.
You're right, Brian. You want to take a cup of tea or something, and then.
Yeah, it's just sad. I have very little faith in, other than Wonder Woman. So far, I have little faith in DC movies. But
well, you don't like the Nolan trilogy.
You're right.
So, what's happening?
What do you mean? What's happening?
I have faces. What was the last DC movie you enjoyed? Oh, Brian,
Wonder Woman.
Before that.
DC before. Do animated movies count?
Wow.
I have to go back to like Batman Returns.
Wow. I don't know how to process that.
It's simple. I mean,
simple?
Superman Returns wasn't that good of a movie.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. My problem with Superman, and it's been my problem since the only villain they bring up is Luthor. I'm bored with that.
Kevin Spacey's incredible in that movie.
So that's what the fourth reincarnation of Luthor.
How many Death Stars are in the Star Wars series?
There's not. I don't.
Yeah, good point. Darth Vader. He's always in this. He's the same bad guy. Oh, another Darth Vader guy. Damn it.
No, I remember reading Superman as a kid, and Superman had like 1,001 villains that he can go up against, but nobody wants to put anybody other than Luthor in the movies. And as soon as I hear check out, especially when it's Jesse Eisenberg trying to play Luthor.
Yeah, well,
just give me a dull drill bit, and 20 minutes.
Why does it have to be dull?
Because
the suffering. He needs to expand the suffering.
No, but yeah, I just can't think of any other DC movies. I mean, since Batman Returns, it's like Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, Superman Returns, all crap. Man of Steel, crap. BVS, crap. Suicide Squad, crap.
Can we change subjects? I'm going to blow a gasket in a minute.
I love that you just kind of smooth over the Nolan trilogy like it's fucking nothing. I mean, fuck one of them you can not like, but all three.
No, I have said before I don't mind Batman Begins, and that's because Scarecrow is in it. But just
that was pretty all right. Yeah.
You're making me stretch my face.
oh, Brian, we can't love everything the same. Come on, how dull would this world?
Stretching my face.
Don't do it then.
You're making me.
I'm not making you do anything.
It's an involuntary reaction to the crap that's coming out of your mouth.
It's the crap that was up on the screen.
I can't without even well,
Ryan, where are you going?
Into my shell.
Man of Steel?
Man of Steel is one of my favorite comic book movies. I don't care what anyone says. All the criticisms people come out with that film are absolute crap. There's an excellent half-hour video on YouTube in which this guy goes through all the criticisms people have and tells people why they're complete nonsense. And it's a brilliant, brilliant video.
It would have been a good movie if two characters are recast, and that's Superman, because Henry Cavill's crap, and
no, he's not.
And Costner as his father. I can't stand Kevin Costner.
Isn't
I
the role of
can't
Superman kind of cursed?
Everybody's got one.
And everybody else thinks everybody else stinks.
Yeah.
I feel like no one's ever hung on to the Superman role for more than a short while. It's like the role is cursed or something.
Yeah, you get paralyzed.
Christopher Reeve did it for 4 movies.
Yeah, and they got paralyzed.
Yeah.
That's not ideal.
That's following the curse. But Michael Shannon was fucking awesome. And wait, so Wolf. So you don't like Man of Steel either, then clearly.
No.
What the fuck?
I don't need brooding. I don't fit in this world. Superman. I need.
Well, what do you call the '89 Batman?
What about it? I mean,
well, I mean, it's not like it's not 2002 Spider-Man. It's dark.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
But,
don't try to understand me.
Okay.
Right. Seriously.
Okay.
I don't understand myself.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, V for Vendetta. Mr. Movie says V for Vendetta. That's a DC movie. That's in like my top 20 movies of all time. I love that film.
Okay. Now see, in all fairness, there probably are like a sprinkle of comic book movies that came out that were like part of Vertigo, or like, I think, isn't Hellboy DC?
No.
Image?
No.
Image.
But don't they own the? I thought they owned the Hellblazer comic. You know,
Hellblazer.
Yeah, which is what. Oh, that's Constantine.
That's Constantine, isn't it?
Yeah. I just did that math myself, so. No, you know what? I actually did like. I liked Green Lantern. You know, outside of the fact that the hero was crap, or the villain was crap.
You're telling me what you're saying here. What you're saying here is Man of Steel and Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy is crap.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying.
Green Lantern is actually not that bad.
It's not that bad, but it has a terrible villain. I think he's having an aneurysm. Let's watch, everybody.
He's either frozen or dead. Well, you've said this before, Wolf. You don't like the ultra realism of the Nolan trilogy, right? That was it.
Yeah.
Which
I want to watch a comic. I mean, honestly, I want to watch a comic book movie that's more of a comic book, not the crap that he put out.
Well, Ryan, you can recognize where he would prefer Green Lantern over the Nolan trilogy if you want a comic type. It's kind of, you know, I don't know. I don't want to say abnormal, but like extreme. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to go in that territory, you may as well hit up the Shadow or flipping. Oh, what's the other one in the purple spandex? The Phantom.
Oh, was that Billy Zane?
Billy Zane.
Oh, the Phantom
from the 90s.
Well, how about early 2000s Spider-Man? That's kind of silly and out there. As far as realism is concerned.
I'd say Spider-Man's very, very comic booky in the sense of how I think people who don't read comic books would expect comic books to be.
Okay.
Very kind of pop art, like bright colors, shiny.
Well, how do you feel about Watchmen? Wolfman. That's a lot. That's a lot to say.
I actually saw that in the theater and didn't mind it because I knew of the comic book beforehand, and it's kind of an interesting take. Just how the universe falls. You know, the whole Watchmen universe. It's like Reagan was like a permanent fixture as president. He got rid of the whole, hey, we're going to stop electing presidents. Reagan's, that's it. That's our guy. You know? Yeah, I liked the Watchmen. I'm a fan that I know quite a few people that just, you know, they know everything about it. I don't know everything about that movie, but I do enjoy it.
I respect a movie that shows a big blue dome.
Don't we all?
Just CP to go straight for the dong.
Sorry. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, it's rare you see him in a film, so you got to mention it when it's there. Bring attention to it. Yeah, I don't know where to go from here. Are we all calm?
We started on horror movies and mother complexes. And,
right.
What about the flip side to mother complexes? What about daddy complexes? Because there's quite a few of those, I think.
Are there really? Because I was trying to look for someone, and I was a little bare in the cupboard there. Go ahead, Brian.
The same, please enlighten us.
I had them before I came on here.
That many, huh?
I think I rattled his cage a little bit.
Yeah, there were. I had a list of about 3.
Well, in Nightmare on Elm Street,
was your list restricted to horror, or
it was horror? Yeah,
right.
It was just horror.
In Nightmare on Elm Street, we find out in Freddy Krueger's past that he's actually abused by his stepfather, Alice Cooper. Which, you know.
Oh, which one was that? 5? 4?
4. I believe it was 4. It's either 4 or 5. But we find out he's the son of 1,000 maniacs, which, you know, his mom was a nun.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
That's 5, I think.
We find out that he was raised by a stepfather, you know, Alice Cooper, who's like beating him with a belt, you know, leather strap.
When they add stuff like that in, do you think it's meant to make us more sympathetic towards the character, or like to make us?
I don't think we could ever be sympathetic towards Freddy Krueger, but I think we could get a little bit more of the understanding of what sent him over the edge.
Is that movie,
you know?
What's it called? The Cage? The Cell with Vince Vaughn, where they literally go into the mind of a serial killer. It's not a good movie, by all accounts, but that explicitly shows the abuse that said serial killer experiences as a child, I think.
Yeah.
Is that just not the done thing now? Just if they're a serial killer, they had a bad childhood. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the sad trope that it's turned into. Is that nowadays everyone's like, well,
Scream as well.
What was that?
Billy Loomis in Scream as well. He had a mummy complex because
Oh yeah, she wasn't even dead. She just left, right?
Yeah.
Well, she left because his dad was having sex with Sydney's mother.
Mm.
You know, and so she left, and then she came back in the second one as the killer.
And let's face it, she was no Sharon Stone. Sorry.
No, she was a Laurie Metcalf.
I only speak in, quotes.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, she was.
Well, yeah,
I like
do is probably fits into what we were talking about earlier a bit more because Laurie Metcalf does the Pamela Voorhees thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the line is, you know, it's like she's like, oh, it's Mrs. Loomis. And he's like, but she used to be, you know, fat, and not. It's like, oh yeah, this is like 100 pounds later and lots of plastic surgery or something like that. And this is the line, you know. And that's what they came up with.
Brian, did you get any of those? I'm intrigued because
Brian's not all quiet. He's just kind of like he's all rattled.
He's taking heart medication right now.
You're making me scratch my face.
He's taking heart medication and downing it with vodka.
I don't want to scratch my face.
I'm racking my brain now, trying to think.
Yeah, it is odd. It always seems to be mommy issues or something mommy related.
Yes. So in Screen, it was.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Emily.
I was going to say, well, most of our antagonists are male, so the mother complex would kind of make sense. I suppose it would be gender flipped if we were talking about daddy issues.
I don't know, because in horror films, it tends. We talk about final girls, don't we? It tends to be women at the center of horror films. They tend to be the victims. So it's. I guess it's the males that are always the killers, so they have the mummy issues. So yeah, are there any female serial killers?
Carrie was more of a mass murderer than a serial killer, and
she was a spree killer as opposed to a serial killer.
Pamela Voorhees. Technically, I mean, she turns out to, you know, we know the ending of the movie, but you know, Angela Baker from you know. The girls from Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers.
Wow. Where'd you pull that one from? Wow.
Well, last week I interviewed Christopher Olin Ray, son of Fred Olin Ray, who directed Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers.
Of course you have the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon in like 3. Oh my goodness.
And I actually like that movie. I have
Dennis says urban legend?
Yeah, it was a female serial killer.
Oh, right. That's what's her face with the curly hair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's her face with the curly hair? We'll go with that.
That's still on your list, Emily. I mean, nothing. Deep Throat 2. Lizzie Borden's an actual person.
Yeah, but they made bad horror films on her.
They do that with every. The only really good, like, shitty, not released to movie theaters, real life person movie that I've ever seen is Dahmer, which starred Hawkeye. What the fuck? So,
Alan Alda.
Alan Alda. What the shit are you talking about?
Oh, Hawkeye. Well, you said Hawkeye.
No. From the Avengers. What the fuck? Why can't I?
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner played Dahmer, and it was. I mean, listen, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either.
You've never seen.
What about the film about Armin May? He wasn't really a serial killer, but I'm sure there's a film about him that's pretty good.
Are you just making it up? I'm sure there's a film about him. Wait, what?
I've seen parts of it, but what's it called? You know who Armin May was, right? The German cannibal who advertised for someone to be eaten by him, he got a response. They met up. They did a thing. No?
No, this sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I've heard good things about the movie, that it works on some level as almost a twisted love story. Like the two are clearly compatible anyway. He wants to eat somebody, other guy wants to be eaten. It works.
Okay.
Sounds like a rip roaring good time. Somebody suggested Carla, which stars what's her face from that '70s show, who's also in Orange Is the New Black.
Laura Prepon.
Laura Prepon, right? Which just because they're an actor now doesn't mean. I mean, just like Jeremy Renner, I don't think he'll talk about his role in Dahmer anytime soon.
Well, I mean, so you've never seen Helter Skelter, the Manson made-for-TV Manson movie?
What year is it from?
76. Stephen Railsback played Charles Manson.
Was there something titled Helter Skelter before that?
Well, the book, and the song by the Beatles.
Right. I don't.
And the actual slide somewhere that in Liverpool that is named Helter Skelter.
I think I have seen the TV movie, but like decades ago.
Yeah. And A Deliberate Stranger, the Ted Bundy story.
Someone in the chat said Monster. That was a good one.
There's a really good one with Brian Dennehy as John Wayne Gacy.
Yep, Gacy.
Not Gacy. It wasn't called Gacy. The one Brian Dennehy did was it was like a special. I think it was made for TV, but it was really well done.
Yeah.
But can't think of the name of it.
Who said Monster? That's a good call. I forgot that movie existed.
Charlize Theron.
Dennis said Monster.
Dennis. Good call, Dennis.
Of course.
Yeah, no, that's an Oscar-winning film right there.
Makeup alone. I mean, Christina Ricci and Charlize Theron are very unrecognizable in that movie.
For the record, Charlize Theron doing the Christian Bale, Jared Leto thing, still quite fuckable looking in that movie, just for the record. From the chin down, of course.
Sure.
Ryan, did you get those movies yet?
I didn't.
Of course not.
No.
Maybe next week we'll bring them up.
Maybe next week.
Yeah. We'll just do dads next week.
A very short show.
Go ahead. You were going to say something, Brian?
There's a film that I would really like to get hold of, actually. I saw it one night on TV. I think it was a made-for-TV thing, but it was really good. It's called The Investigation. And I think the biggest name in it is Nicholas Lee, which no one will probably know, but he was most famous for from the X-Files. But it was based on a true story about this serial killer, and it was set during a time when police forces didn't really communicate with each other. So that kind of buggered up a lot of the investigation, but it was a real good film. So if you can get hold of that, do.
Real quick, Jason Hamilton says, is the one you're talking about, Brian, called 1166 or the Gacy House or something like that?
No, it's to catch a killer. To catch a killer.
Oh,
why don't you have a seat? Snowtown.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't recognize Snowtown.
Anybody? Nothing. To Catch a Killer. What are you doing here?
is Snowtown anything to do with the massacre in Snowville in Wyoming?
Why the fuck do you know that?
They found 8 dismembered bodies in a barrel there, apparently.
Oh, yeah. What sexes and nationalities were the 8 bodies? Smart ass.
I don't know it.
Well, you seem to know everything else about the goddamn case.
Oh, now come on.
What? she's like the you of murder. Emily is to murder what you are to obscure shitty movies. There's no town like Snowtown. What about the X-Files?
I said, see that? He's calling the X-Files a shitty show. Right?
Yeah.
Because Brian's like, you'll never know who Nicholas Lee is. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. His brother was a car dealer, and my friend Dahmer looks really good.
Just when you think he's dead on the X-Files, he shows up like 3 episodes later.
That's a good point. We could probably finish with that. Daniel Hammond says, my friend Dahmer looks really good. Have you guys seen the trailer for that, My Friend Dahmer?
No.
No, sadly.
Well, then I guess I can't inquire further about this. Well, it's a film about Dahmer in high school, which, by the way, Brian, you know Tyrell Listen, right?
Tyrell Listen, yeah.
Yeah, the guy in the film is a dead ringer for Tyrell. Anyway, it's Dahmer in high school being picked on. And it doesn't seem to, at least the first trailer they let out, there doesn't seem to be any sort of touching on the murders.
Right.
And I guess it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Halloween.
Yeah. I mean that's different because it's a real life case, you know. So it's...
Right.
But who cares?
Well, I mean, so I'll open the question up. Is it something that we really need? Like, if it does have us sympathize with like, yeah, sure, he might have been picked on in school, but that doesn't.
Well, I think it is something we need. I don't think it's not so much getting us to sympathize with.
Is it more of a cautionary tale type thing, or?
Yeah, it's like it's something that we constantly need to discuss in society about the
Not
way
America.
we parent.
Not America. Not America.
Clearly, yeah, but
we love our guns and nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
No, that's you make, you know, you joke about it, but you are making a point in that joke, you know, and which is basically the point I was making, but I was going the long-winded way around it, which is that, yeah, that we tell the same stories again and again and again and again and again. There's a reason for that. It's because we always need to learn these same lessons, you know, and it's like if we mistreat our children, they grow up to be mistreaters. You know, I mean, there's been a discussion I've been having quite a lot this week, actually, about director Victor Salva. You know, is that you can judge the man he was, you know, and you can say, oh, I hate the man he was, I despise the man he was.
Anyone separate him from his work or not.
Well, it's not even about separating him from his work, but I have to live my life with the belief, at any rate, that somebody can change. That we are not just our past, no matter how horrific the things we may have done in our past. Because if you judge me solely on my past, you could call me an arsonist and a thief. Because that's what I was when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. You know, I burnt buildings down. I set fire to cars. I stole from shops. You know, but am I that person now? No, I'm not. And I'm not saying that those kind of crimes are on the same level as paedophilia. But the simple fact is, people can change. People do change. And it's like all these people who are like, oh, well, you know, Victor Salva, let's ban this film because that crime was horrendous. But by a legal standard, and you may not agree with that legal standard, he has served his time. Now the question is, now that he has served that time, is he a changed man? Well, until he proves otherwise, we have to go under the assumption that he is a changed man. And that maybe at some point he has got psychological help, you know. And it's worth noting that he himself was abused as a child.
Mm.
You know, it's something that people never toss up. And like, if you do throw that out there, then some people will say, "Oh, he was abused as a child. No, that means I have to become an abuser, does it?" Well, the statistics clearly show that the majority of people, the vast majority of people who abuse, were abused. So yeah, going back to the earlier point, why do we tell these stories again and again? Because we keep making the same stupid ass mistakes again and again. We need to learn these lessons all the time. So a film about Dharma in his early years, if done properly and not just as some horrible trash kind of, you know, trying to go for the easy ride film, if it's done properly, yeah, I think it could be something that is actually of value within the cinematic landscape.
Well, that's part of it. I think cinematic, you know, in the world of art, we seem to be solving or trying to fix things a lot more than, at least in America, the real world. You know, a teenage kid goes up and shoots 25 6-year-old kids in a little school in Connecticut, and the big thing was, well, what, you know, the teachers need guns. That's not.
That's the answer. More guns.
Yeah, that's a good thing to have on the desk, isn't it?
And then we never talked about it ever again. Not the mental state of somebody with a gun. It just
But you got to remember, you got to remember that the guns that he shot that school up with weren't his. He went over. He killed his mom, and he took her guns.
Right.
I mean, so they weren't legally in his hands. You know.
Yeah. I mean,
that's all.
Yes,
you know,
something should have been approached. I mean, to bring something up and then have it be shot down with, well, teachers should have guns, and then everybody's like, well, forget it. I mean,
right.
Just
that really is the way America likes to look at things. I mean, we bring it up for a while, we make it a social platform for about 3 to 6 months, and then, you know, when nothing's come of it, and then someone gets shot up at
something else
at the theater for watching one of the Dark Knight movies, or Gangster Squad, you know.
Well, it was Dark Knight Rises that the kid shut up the theater.
Yeah, but there was also another theater where someone came in during Gangster Squad, and they were like, well, we just can't have that kind of, you know.
And that's the sad state when you confuse the theater shootings like that's abnormal. I mean, like, oh, which theater shooting are you talking about? That one? No, not that one. The other one. Oh.
So in conclusion, the world is pretty fucked up. The Western world, the part of the Western world that has guns at its disposal.
Right.
Thank you, because I want to make sure we get that right. It's
well, credit was credit's due.
Yeah. As much as I love having all the rights and everything of being here, man, this is one screwed up country. But in all fairness, Brian, you were talking about Victor Salva.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the sad thing: is that most people make a point to point out that the horrendous thing that Salva's done, and it is a horrendous thing. I'm not saying he can't change. I'm just saying that one crime was terrible. Yeah. But nobody brings up Polanski.
Mm-hmm.
And Polanski didn't just, I mean, okay, we don't bring him up because Salva's was a same-sex thing, and Polanski's was opposite sex thing. Polanski he gave her alcohol and drugs, and, you know, it's like, it almost seemed more predatory. But hey, he gets nominated for Oscars every time he makes a movie. Yeah. Movies from theaters.
It's double standards, isn't it? It's double standards. But it's just like...
Could it be argued that Polanski's work was a greater contribution to cinema as a whole?
It doesn't matter what contribution is, though, does it? It's like, if you're gonna judge on a moral scale, then you judge on that moral scale and you stick to it. But you don't say, well, they're kind of guilty of the same crime, he made Jeepers Creepers, whereas he made Rosemary's Baby. So we'll let him have a pass.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
And Polanski, he fled the country. He didn't even get the chance to do his time. He knew he was going to be going away.
That's the main thing, really. Like for me, it's about repentance. Does this person show signs of repentance, of true repentance?
Dennis says,
and it's like Roman Polanski shows no sign of that because he run and he's not faced up to it.
Right.
You know, like, yeah, okay, some people have pointed out in the chat that, you know, Salva got a few years or however long it was. They say it wasn't long enough. It's whatever length has been determined. The fact that what's important is once he's done that sentence, what kind of man is he afterwards?
Exactly.
You know, it's like, and you can get into all this. Oh well, yeah, cut the dicks off and all that, but it's very easy to have that mentality of anger to such a heinous crime because it's you know, like, oh, you're such a hero because you can state the obvious, which is actually that something like that makes us feel angry, makes us feel pissed off. But there's such a psychology at work in someone like that. When someone's been abused at such an early age, their idea of what is masculine, what is feminine, what is sexually, what is love, what is sexually appropriate and what isn't, becomes so skewed that their ability to, you know, and I'm not in any way condoning that crime. That crime deserves punishment. It does. The point is, does he repent for that crime? If so, in a modern society, we should find a place for them still in society. Not with kids, obviously, but to say that, oh no, they've done that, and even though they're saying sorry, or even though they show signs of repentance, screw them, they did the crime, bollocks to them. It's like, if that's the case, I should be in prison, not for that crime, because I've not done that crime, but I should be in prison for the crimes I've done in my past that I got away with, you know? It's a simple fact of the matter. But people wouldn't say that. They say, oh, but you've changed. You're not that person anymore. No, I'm not. So it's acceptable for me to exist in society.
And we're glad to have you.
So why do you get that second chance and he doesn't, is what you're saying?
It is, yeah. And it's because we place a value on crime. We place a particular kind of moral value.
Plus, somebody else is being affected by those crimes. Especially if it's a young person, it's developing mind.
We do a tier system of what is evil, what is moral, and well, I'll leave it there because I don't want to get into a big religious debate, which is.
Thank God we waited till right now to have this discussion. So, Brian, what do you have coming up on your channel?
Well, check out my reviews for Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. I've got still cracking on with my Gotham reviews, but this week I've got a 4-part series in which I am reacting to Luke's movie marathon.
Lovely.
Yeah, so that starts on Wednesday through to Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But yeah.
Wolf.
Yeah, so I'm going to be recording a new sit down today with Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's also going to be on Wicked Horror Show tonight. We'll be chatting with him. I'm also going to start work on a new show that second. I'm calling it like Second Chances. And 2 movies I watched in the last couple of days that I've given second chances to are The Ring, because I never cared for it. I didn't like the ending of the movie. Then I watched it the other day, and it's a little bit better than I thought it was going to, you know. For some reason, I remember the ending way differently. I don't know why that is. But and 1408. 1408 the other day, and it actually is better than I remember it being. You know, so.
Oh, good to hear.
I'm just gonna do that. You know, start up that kind of stuff and do the rundown.
Come on, Twitter,
Please.
Wolfman.
So you can find me on YouTube, the 13th Wolfman, Twitter at the 13th Wolfman, Tumblr 13th Wolfman. There'll probably be something on the Dorking every Tuesday on the Wicked Horror Show. Every Tuesday here on American Wolf in London, I'm doing Horror 101 with Kevin. Or Don't That we're doing the Wicked Horror Show.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. Amelia.
Well, I have part 2 of my Marble Hornets review.
Which part 1 is up, which wasn't up the last time we spoke. So
it is, yes, and there's a votey thingy at the end of that, which people have been.
Bauhaus, please.
Yeah, that's an amusing mix-up. And after that, I think I'm going to have to review the ice cream truck because what a movie! Yes.
And I don't. Yeah, I'll be here next week. I don't know if I have anything coming up. Computer's still, the hard drive's still fried, so fuck life. I might be.
And
Go ahead, Wolf.
And I do have my newest mobile movie review of it up.
Oh,
so,
right. You did plug that before. I might be doing a vlogs type thing to let you guys know what the fuck happened in England last week, because they don't want me. And
I want to hear more about the whole, you know, the secondary thing.
I was
what people are.
Oh, the Facebook thing. Maybe that'll all be one big thing. Quite a week for CP. All right, so that's it for this week. We'll see you next week. If you guys have some sort of suggestion for a topic, go ahead and drop it below. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye,
Goodbye, everybody.
Everybody.